demonstration of Genius. One of the first things that Genius provides on top of Brightspace is the ability to provide a very robust catalog of all the training that that organization may be providing. That catalog can easily be filtered by category, by date courses being offered, by delivery method or location, and you can easily filter the course in the search window just by, if I wanted to find all my Brightspace courses, simply just saying find, and I would find all my Brightspace courses that were created. Now, from a registration standpoint, I'm going to just select a few courses and choose to register for the top 3 or 4 courses here, and then proceed to checking out. What happens is that if I already had a user account, I would simply bypass this page or log in using my existing account. But right now, this organization doesn't know who this user is. So I'm going to go ahead and create a user account. I'll create an account called Charles Brown. And I will put an email address in here. And then go ahead and pick what affiliation I may belong to. Now, this account didn't exist 2 seconds ago, but it was just created in Genius, and by registering them in a Brightspace course, it will create the account in Brightspace. There's emails that go out when your account's created. There's emails that go out when you're enrolled in a course, when you complete a course, when you drop a course. There are reminders before a course begins and before a course ends. There are expiration reminders. So there's a variety of email templates behind the scenes that will automatically go out, and you can manually trigger emails in a variety of methods. Now, in the registration process, 3 of the courses are free, but one has a dollar figure associated to it. So I could easily go in and choose to pay via one of 11 different payment gateways we support out of the box: PayPal Pro, Authorize.net, WorldPay, TouchNet. There's a number of other payment gateways like Stripe that we support. Or I could also, we also have the ability to provide a coupon code or a discount. So I'm going to use a $100 off coupon, apply it, and now instead of owing $100, everything is free, and so I can just confirm, and I'll be enrolled in all 4 of those courses. Now that my account's created, what the user sees is what we call our learner dashboard. And in Brightspace, you'll see the number of courses you're enrolled in. But in this case, one of the courses is a Zoom course. 3 are Brightspace courses. They could be face-to-face courses. We can register for them all and then provide one sort of learner dashboard for all training that's being offered to that learner. So if I click on the Zoom course, for example, it will go out and launch me into Zoom. And if I say open up in the Zoom app, it will launch me into the Zoom session. I'm just going to close out and come back to my learner dashboard. Now what I'm going to do is launch into the Brightspace course. So by jumping into the Brightspace Business 101 course, I can see here that there's a course with various content, and I can then go through and start reviewing the content of the course. Now, the next step, right? I want to come out of this course. I stop at some point in time. I come back to my dashboard. Now I want to jump into a different course, and I'm going to jump into this Genius section. And I'm in a different Brightspace course, and this Brightspace course could be on a different Brightspace instance even. But what I'm going to do is, the course is sort of a shell waiting for content to be added. But after I review the content of the course, typically we would have some kind of a quiz that assesses your comprehension of the content. So I can see some instructions here, and I'll take this quiz. And it asks me if I fully comprehend the material, and I'm going to say, yes, I do. And if I get a grade over some percentage threshold, we can automatically flag that this user has completed the course, and the user will go from active to completed and get awarded a certificate of completion, and that course will go onto that user's transcript. So now, I've just completed one course. If I come out of this and come back to the system, I could always, this is what 95% of your users see of the system. They could always go back and register for more courses. And one thing I wanted to point out is that not only can you register for an individual course, but you can also register for a series of courses. So this is a learning path. It looks just like an individual course, but it consists of 3 courses that have to be completed in a sequential order. So um, I can come in through and say, yes, that's, enroll me into the learning path. And when I enroll in the learning path, it will add it to my cart, and I will proceed to check out. And then when I go to the dashboard, you'll see that now I've been enrolled in a learning path. I was enrolled in Module 1. Module 2 and 3 are prerequisites of Module 1. So I need to complete Module 1 before I get enrolled in Module 2. I need to complete Module 2 before I get enrolled in Module 3. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going into the Module 1 course, and again, consuming the content, taking some quiz that assesses my comprehension of that content, and then once I come out of the quiz, then what will happen is behind the scenes there is a job that runs every hour or every 2 hours that will bring every grade from every user from every course into the system. We can also set up a job that will just grab Charles Brown's grades every time he logs into the learner dashboard and bring just his grades down and complete them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of Charles Brown for a second and log in as an administrator into Genius. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the grade download job. So I'm going to come over to the administrative interface and say I want to run the grade download for Brightspace. And by running it, I'm not going to wait the hour for it to run. I'm running it right now. And the grades will come down from every course for every user. And then we will see that those 2 courses I just completed will move from the active course list to the completed course list. So now that it's complete and I go back into the system, you'll see here that if I go back to Charles Brown and I try to find Charles Brown here, when I click on Charles Brown, from a user's perspective, I can see a ledger of all the money he's paid to date. I can view his transcript. I can do a certification audit. I can look at all the communication that's gone out to him. I can see all of his current enrollments and every course he's completed. I can enroll him in more courses or transfer him from one course, one Brightspace course to another Brightspace course. If I accidentally completed him, I can reinstate him in the Brightspace course. But what I'm going to do is just log in as the user that we just created a few minutes ago, and just trying to get my mouse to work. Okay, so logging into the user. And now you'll notice that the 2 courses, Module 1 and the Genius section, have moved from active to completed. And then I was automatically, the Module 2 that was in the pending queue, I automatically got enrolled in it because I completed the prerequisite Module 1. And then from this point, I can actually download a certificate of completion. You can click on the module here, and if you click on the module, you can say, I want to download my certificate, and it will download a certificate, and it will say, Charles Brown completed Module 1 on this particular date and time. Now, from this learner dashboard, we talked about how you can go back and register for more courses. You can do things like withdraw from courses. I can print my transcript. And when I print my transcript, I would see that, in Q4 of 2019, these are the courses I've completed in that time frame, right? So this is the learner's perspective. What I'm going to do is log out and show you how you created this environment from an administrator perspective. So as an admin, a very small percentage of people see this back-end administrative interface. The administrator can see all learners that they are that are within their purview, and you can click on the columns and assort in ascending or descending order for any particular column, and you can also filter. So if I only wanted to see users in the government affiliation, I can just start typing in, and it would show me only users in that government affiliation. You can do things like perform bulk actions against users. So I could say, listen, I want to take everyone from the Foreign Service Institute and enroll them into a course. Or I want to take everyone from who has who's currently completed a course, who's never completed a course, who's requested a course, who's on the wait list for the course, because I'm going to enroll them in that course. And once you pick that group of users and you say, okay, get me the data, then it would say, okay, let me grab all the users who meet that criteria, and I want to bulk email them, bulk enroll them in a learning path, or bulk print their transcripts and perform some kind of action against them. Now, as a manager, you can also nominate employees. So employees can self-register, but as a manager, I can go into my employees and say, Abraham Lincoln, he really needs this NASA JPL course. I'm going to nominate him for that course, and he'll then, by nominating him, he'll get enrolled in the course, right? So you can like nominate users for courses and perform certain actions against those users. Now, how you go about creating the environment is you can see that I have a variety of courses here, and I'm just going to go out and find a course called Genius. And when you create a course, this course, when you edit it, you determine, we add some value-added capabilities on top of Brightspace. One capability is that you have the ability to tell us whether you want that course to be self-registering, yes or no. And if it's yes, it appears in the registration page or catalog. And if it's no, it wouldn't appear. We can also create a workflow so that most LMSs, you're either enrolled or you're not enrolled. But we can create a workflow that says, listen, if you're self-enrolling, maybe your manager has to approve you, or HR needs to approve you, or the registrar or someone has to approve your request before you actually get enrolled in that course. We can give you a Brightspace template ID and then create any section that we create based on that template ID. We can make any course can have an expiration period and say once you earn a certificate, it's good for 12 months, and then 1 month before expiration, we're going to send an email automatically telling you that you need to come back to our organization and retake that Brightspace course in order to keep your certification. We can create, prerequisites and recommend courses, and there's a variety of capabilities that we have when you're creating a course. Now, the next thing that we can do is that you would create a section of a course. And when you create a section, I'm going to say that this is my Brightspace 6, 7, 8, 9 section. And I spelled it wrong. And what would happen is when you create a section, you can define who the instructors of the section are. You can set an enrollment cap. You can determine what term the course is being taught, how many credit hours that course is worth. You can have a different certificate by course. You can say that this course is available for anyone in any affiliation, or only people within the Department of State Foreign Service Institute. You can pick whether I'm going to create this in Brightspace, and then if I create it in Brightspace, it's going to actually create a copy based on that template. I can assign a price and create a whole e-commerce paradigm where it gets charged through our payment gateway. But now that I've created this course, as a user can now enroll in that course. So as a learner, I could come in as this particular learner. I'm going to log in as this learner. And when the learner logs in, I'm going to log in as that particular learner. And when I log in as a learner, I'm going to go and register for a course. And you'll see that here's this Brightspace 6, 7, 8, 9 course we just created. So I'm going to go ahead and register for that and go ahead and proceed to checking out. Confirm that that's what I want. And by confirming that's what I want, when you do it within Genius, Genius will create the course within Brightspace. It will create the enrollment in Brightspace. It will bring the grades from Brightspace right back into Genius, and then give you immediately reporting against that data so that you can see not just, let's say I teach this course 500 times a year. We'll naturally aggregate all the data. You can look at it at a macro or micro level and see everyone who's completed it in a particular section, or everyone who's completed it over time, and be able to run reports on that data. So in this case, I'm just taking a quiz as this user, and then once that grade download runs, then this Brightspace course will go to completed, and they'll get their certificate of completion and everything else. Now, how this all works is, let's log back in as an administrator. From a reporting standpoint, there are a wealth of reports that we provide. So, we can give you expiration reports. I can say, show me all active enrollments that are expired, right? So these users have completed these courses, they completed them on these dates, and here's the expiration. It was good for a year, so it expires 1 year from the date that they completed the course. And we can track, who's in compliance, who's out of compliance. We can see for a particular learning path, show me everyone who's enrolled in this learning path and go out and get me that data. And specifically, I want to see everyone who's completed the learning path, right? So I could say, show me all completions and see everyone who's completed it. I can also run reports on, at a high level, like show me every enrollment for a particular affiliation. The executive affiliation has 184 enrollments, 106 are active, 5 are dropped, 69 are completed. Here's our drop rate, here's a completion rate. Our enrollment history report is probably the most useful in terms of determining who's in compliance and who's out of compliance. But you could say, listen, I wanted to look at the crime and justice course. Show me everyone who has taken that course. There are 48 people who are either active, completed, or dropped. I only want to see the people who've completed the course. So filter it just for the completed, get me that data, and then these 13 people have completed the course with those grades, right? So you can see who's in compliance, who's out. You can easily see things like who's on the wait list and who's waiting to be approved and who's requested to be dropped. And what we can do is we give you a report builder so that you can build your own reports. It's an open SQL Server database on the back end. So I can easily come in and say, I want the user's first name and last name. I want their current grade. I want their the name of the section they're taking. I can filter it using any kind of criteria that I want to use. I'm just going to get the data, and it will show me that I have 863 records, student's name, their current grade, the name of the section that they're taking. And you can save this report, you can rerun it. You can actually subscribe the user to a report. So you can create a subscription report and say, every Sunday, every Monday, every Tuesday, send this report to these users. I can also do things like create we have something called a query builder. So if you have SQL, knowledge of SQL, you can write your own SQL statement. So I can say, here's a SQL statement. I want this report as a pie chart, a bar chart, a line chart, and then this report is for these roles. It's not for these roles. So you can determine who can see it and who can't see it. And then what you can do is you can create a customizable dashboard by role. And you can say, listen, I want to create a dashboard, and we can say, in this dashboard, this is the dashboard for an admin. We can say, go out and pick the reports that you want, and then, you can add reports, remove reports to create your own dashboard of what the reports you'd like. And, there's a wealth of other great features in terms of, there are rules like prescriptive rules where you can determine, you can create an automated rule that will, say, I'm going to create this rule that runs daily where everyone who meets this criteria, everyone who has, based on their metadata, equaling some value or not equaling some value, we're going to enroll them in a section or a learning path, right? So enroll them in these sections or learning paths based on them meeting that criteria. So everyone who has a hire date less than 6 months, enroll them in the onboarding, and HR doesn't have to worry about who needs to be in the onboarding course and who doesn't. It's automatic. So these are just some of the many value-added benefits we provide on top of Brightspace. We're happy to provide a more detailed discussion meeting your specific requirements. Thank you for your time.